Hey, what's up, everybody? Good to be back with you again. We got the Yankees at the Tigers here in 1949. This is May 10th, 1949. Yankees at 15-5, but they lost their last one to the Tigers, as you recall. Here's Gene Woodling. It takes a ball. There's a strike at the knees, 1-1 the count. There's one low, 2-1 now the count on him. And there's ball 3, 3-1 the count on Woodling. And there's ball 4, and he takes a walk from Ted Gray. And he faces Phil Rizzuto. There's one hit over to Johnny Groth in center field for the first out. Here's Tommy Henrich, and there's one foul to the left side, 0-1 the count. And there's one line to the left side for a base hit past Lipton, and that's over to Hoot Evers in left field, and that puts runners on first and second here for Cliff Mapes. Cliff Mapes up there now takes the ball outside, and there's one high. That's called a strike, 1-1 the count, and he pulls one deep to right field. Vic Wertz has it. Woodling able to tag up, move on to third base, and there's two away. Here's Jerry Coleman. And there's a strike in the inside corner, 0-1 to Coleman, and there's one high, 1-1 the count, and that's off the plate. It's 2-1. And there's a bullet hit into center field, and that'll score one, and that will send Henrich over to second base. And here's Hank Bauer, 1-0 Yankees, just like that. There's a ball inside to Bauer, 1-0 the count. And there's one low to him, 2-0. And there's a strike in there for a fastball, 2-1. And there's a ball 3 high. And there's ball 4. And so Ted Gray has walked 2 here in this inning. And here comes Yogi Berra, who takes a ball inside and then fouls one back. 1-1 the count now on Yogi. And Yogi can really punish you here. He chases a curveball, 1-2 now the count. And there's a forkball that misses 2-2, and he hits one over to right field. And Wertz goes back and makes the catch right in front of the wall. We go to the bottom of the first inning. 1-0 now Yankees with the lead. Here is Hoot Evers, and he hits one deep over down the left field line, and that's out of Woodling's reach. And Evers is able to go all the way to second base for that one on a double. And comes Paul Campbell, runner on second base, and a chance to tie this ball game. 1-1 now the count on Paul. And that one's high, 2-1 the count on him. And there's one foul back. It's 2-2. And he hits one deep over to center field, and that is past Mapes, and that is past everybody. And Paul is able to get all the way over to third base in the triple, and he scores the run. That'll bring up George Kell here, 1-1 ball game. George Kell with the runner on third base and a chance to put the Tigers ahead. 1-1 the count on him. And there's one low, 2-1 now, and there's one hit over to Cliff Mapes, and that will be deep enough to score Paul Campbell. And so it's 2-1 Tigers just like that. Johnny Groth up there takes a ball inside, 1-0 the count, and there's a strike in the outside corner, 1-1. And there's strike 2, a little bit of movement on it, and there's a ball, 2-2 the count now on Johnny. And there's one low and away, full count now on him, and there's a foul ball. Full count remains. And there's a ground ball over to Rizzuto at shortstop. He just can't handle that one. That's past him into left field for the hit. Vic Wertz comes up now. Still only one out here, bottom of the first inning, 2-1 Tigers. Wertz hits one deep to right field, and Hank Bauer's there, and he makes the catch for the first out, or second out rather. And here's Bob Swift. Bob Swift takes the strike, 0-1 the count. And he holds up in that one. It's 1-1. Play at first base, nothing happening. We're not sending Johnny anywhere. There's one off the plate, 2-1 now the count on Swift, and there's a line drive over to Coleman, the second baseman, who grabs it, and we go to the top of the second, and here's Bill Johnson. Bill Johnson, Yankee third baseman, takes a strike, and there's one high, 1-1 the count, hitting 111. Lots of ones there, 2-1 now the count on Johnson. 2-2 as he swings and misses at that one. That one's up high. It's a full count on Bill. And he struck out and fooled on that pitch, and that's one away. Here is Allie Reynolds with one out, top of the second inning, 2-1 Tigers. And the count on Allie is 1-1. There's a foul back, 1-2 the count, and there's one that misses, 2-2. That one's fouled straight back. The count remains 2-2, and there's a ball in there to him. Full count now on the pitcher, and Gray gets the fastball in there for strike 3. Here comes Gene Woodling, 2-1 Tigers, top of the second inning, 2 outs. Nobody on base, 1-1 the count now on Gene. That one's high, it's 2-1. And there's one foul back to the left, 2-2 the count on him now. And there's one knee high and in there for a strike. That's strike 3. We go to the bottom of the second inning, and this will be Neil Berry. Berry hits one over third base, but just foul, 0-1 the count. And then he hits one deep to left field, but not quite deep enough. Woodling's able to get there for the out, one away. Here's Johnny Lipon, and he takes 2 straight balls, 2-0 the count now on Johnny. Swing and a miss on that one. It's 2-1. And there's one in the dirt, 3-1 the count. And he lays off on that one, and he takes ball 4. And so with Ted Gray up there, there's a runner on at first base. Gray does not have a hit so far this season in his 12 at-bats, and there's ball 1 to him, 1-0 the count. 2-0 now. Gray hasn't been on base at all. There's a breaking ball inside, and the count is 3-0. We'll have Gray take, and he takes ball 4. And so for the first time this season, Ted Gray has discovered what first base looks like, and here is Hoot Evers. And there's a strike in there to Evers, 0-1 the count, and that's low and inside, but he swings and misses at it. It's 0-2. There's a slider and tie, 1-2 the count now. And there's one that's hit right back over to Reynolds. Reynolds goes over to second for one, and Barry then goes on to Campbell at first, Coleman goes on to Henrik at first for the double play. Everyone switched places on me. Top of the third inning, here's Phil Rizzuto, hits a base hit over to left field and ends up as the runner on a first base, and that'll bring up Tommy Henrik, who has a 2-0 count on him. And there's a strike to him. It's 2-1 now on Tommy, and that one misses high for ball 3. 3-1 the count, and there's one wide of the plate, and he'll walk. And that puts runners on first and second with nobody out here in the top of the third inning. Cliff Mapes takes the ball and then bunts one foul, 1-1 the count. That one's inside for a ball. It's 2-1 on Cliff. And that one is high. It's a 3-1 count on him. And Mapes ends up popping one up high over to first base, and Campbell has it for the out, one away. And here's Jerry Coleman with runners still on first and second. And there is a ball on Coleman, 1-0 the count. And there's a ground ball over to a shortstop, and it's Lipon over to Barry for one, and then back on to Campbell at first for the double play. We go to the bottom of the third inning, and here is Paul Campbell up against Allie Reynolds. 1-1 now the count on Campbell. And that's ripped into right center field, and Bauer goes over there and gets it for the first out. Here comes George Kell, who takes a strike in there, 0-1 the count on him. And there's a slider low. It's 1-1. And there's a fastball line down the left field line. That's going to be a base hit there for Kell, and that'll bring up Johnny Groth, runner on first base. And there's the first pitch to him, which is high, 1-0 the count now. There's a ground ball over to Coleman's right side, and that's in there for a base hit. And we're going to play safe with Kell with only the one-run lead and the runners on, or one out, and that puts runners on first and second here for Vic Wirtz, who can do a lot of damage. Ball one in there to Wirtz, 1-0 the count, and there's one low, 2-0. There's a little looper over to short center field, and this is the time you send the runners. We're going to send both Groth and Kell, and let's see if one of them can score. And there's a good throw to the plate. That will take out Kell in his attempt to score for the second out. Groth does make it over to third base, though, and now they're runners to the corners with 2 outs here in the bottom of the third inning. And here is Bob Swift, who takes a strike in the outside corner. And there's a hanging slider up high. 1-1 the count now on Swift, and there's a fastball down in. It's 2-1. And boy, Swift was interfered with his swing. It's another couch here interference call. I can't remember if the last one was against Yogi Berra, if it was against Roy Campanella. It was against one of them. And regardless of who that's against or who has the call against him before, that's a real rare play. And that means that there are now runners on at all 3 bases with 2 outs here in the top or bottom of the third inning. That'll bring up Neil Barry, not exactly the guy you want in this situation. He takes a ball and then a strike, 1-1 the count on Barry. There's one high, it's 2-1, and there's one outside, 3-1 is the count on him. And there's a fastball inside for a strike, it's a full count, and Barry strikes out swinging. We go to the top of the fourth inning, and here is Hank Bauer. That's a ball high to Bauer. And there's another fastball high, 2-0 the count. And that one is high as well, 3-0 the count. And there's one wide, and that's the 4th walk given up by Ted Gray today. And that'll bring up Yogi Berra, the runner on first base. And there's a little ground ball to the right side. That gets through for a base hit. Bauer stops at second. Runners on at first and second for the Yankees with nobody out here in the top of the 4th inning. Bill Johnson fouls one back, and there's a little ground ball over to Lipon for at second base. On to Barry for one, and then over to Campbell for the other. It's a double play, and here comes Allie Reynolds with the runner on at third. Strike one there to Reynolds, and he swings and misses. There's strike 2. And he drives one over to left center field, and the center fielder Groth goes back and gets that one. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Still 2-1 Tigers. Johnny Lipon, he hits one that gets right past the diving attempt by Bill Johnson at third base into left field. Lipon ends up going for 2, and he barely beats the throw that comes in there, and that puts him on second base. Here comes Ted Gray, who walked last time, his first time on base this season. He takes 2 quick balls straight, and there is a ball 3 inside. That'll be a pass ball that will send Lipon up to third base, and Gray's going to take a couple pitches here. And there's ball 4 high and outside, and New York has walked the pitcher again. And boy, you really have to start wondering what in the world is going on in Allie Reynolds' mind. I mean, none of those pitches, from at least the description that the game gave me, none of those pitches were even remotely close. And that means that here in the bottom of the 4th inning, the Tigers have the bases loaded with nobody out, and here comes Hoot Evers. And boy, he can do damage to you. He swings and misses a 1-0-1 the count. There's a flare down the left field line that is just fair, and that will score 1, and that will send Gray over to third base. Evers is there at first, and I thought the bases were loaded. Either way, it's a 3-1 game for the Tigers, and here comes Paul Campbell. And that brings in Joe Page here in the bottom of the 4th inning. That's not when you want him in there. And there's a line drive over there to third base Paul Campbell, the hitter, smashed one over there to Johnson at third base. He grabbed it, and then he doubled off Gray, the base runner, and that's a double play. That means there are 2 outs now for George Kell, and all of a sudden, the Tigers, instead of having runners at the corners, only have a runner on at first base. Terrible base running there by Gray. Here comes George Kell, and he takes the ball low, 1-0 the count, and that's too high. It's 2-0. And there's one inside, 3-0 the count on him. And there's one wide of the plate, and that's another walk. And here comes Johnny Groth, runners on at first and second. And there's one in the dirt, 1-0 the count, and the Tigers have something going on. And there's a fastball strike in the inside corner. It's 1-1 the count now. And that's in the dirt, 2-1. And there's a high fly ball over there to right center field. Is Bauer, who's got it for the out. We go to the top of the 5th inning. It's now 3-1 Tigers. Tigers have had a lot of opportunities here. And here's Gene Woodling, who takes the ball. And he hits one deep over to center field. Groth has it for the first out. And here comes Phil Rizzuto. And Rizzuto looks to be bunting. He gets one down but foul. And there's a pop foul down to the right side. 0-2 now is the count on Rizzuto. And he pops one over to the shortstop Lipon for the second out. Here comes Tommy Henrich, and he takes the ball off the play. 1-0 the count. And that's low, 2-0. And there's one in tight. It's 3-0 now on him. And he takes ball 4. And that's walk number 5 given up by Gray today. Cliff Mapes, and he takes one low and away for a ball. And there's the fastball away again, 2-0. There's the strike. It's 2-1 now. And there's a swing and a miss, 2-2 on Mapes. And he flares one over to a left field. Drops right in front of Hoot Evers. Not much he can do about that. And so the Yankees with 2 on here. And here's Jerry Coleman. 3-1 Tigers, top of the 5th. 1-1 is the count on Coleman, and there's a fastball high and outside. 2-1 the count, and that's one lined into left field for a base hit. Henrich is going to try to score. We're going to try to stop him. And there's a good throw over there by the left fielder, Evers, who throws down to Swift, and they get the man, and we're able to throw Henrich out of the plate, and we'll go to the bottom of the 5th inning, still 3-1 Tigers. Vic Wirtz takes the ball, and then another one in tight, 2-0 the count. There's strike 1 to Wirtz, 2-1. There's one down the middle. First strike, it's 2-2. And there's a little pop-up over to the right side. Bauer is there with a bunch of guys around him. He makes the catch. One away, Bob Swift takes a strike, and then a ball, 1-1 the count. Fouls one back, and it's 1-2. And that's in too close, 2-2 the count now on Swift. And there's one inside under his elbows for a ball. It's a full count, and he swings and misses at that one. It strikes out, 2 away. Here comes Neil Barry again. He hits one deep over to right field. Bauer goes back and gets that one. We go to the top of the 6th. And Bauer, now up after that nice play, sends a drive, though, to right center field and winds up on at second base with a double. And here comes Yogi Berra, and here come the Yankees. Ball 1 in there to Berra, and then ball 2, and Gray is upset with that strike zone. There's a ground ball back to Gray. Looks Bauer back to the bag and goes back to first, or on to first for the first out. Here comes Bill Johnson. Strike 1, and then a ball to Johnson. 1-1 the count on him. There's ball 2 in there to Bill, 2-1 now. And there's a good take there on a breaking ball. It's a 3-1 count. He hammers one over to left field, just foul, missing, tying this game. Full count now on him. There's a ground ball over to Lipon, the shortstop, and he makes a poor throw on that one that takes Campbell off the bag, and that puts runners on at first and third. That error by Lipon. Here comes Joe Page, who takes the ball, and the strike. 1-1 the count now on Page. There's a little flare, and Lipon grabs that one, the shortstop, for the second out, and that'll bring up Jack Phillips batting for Gene Woodling. Interesting strategy. Phillips takes the ball, and then a strike. 1-1 the count on Phillips, and there's one clobbered deep to left. Evers goes back, and he's able to get that one for the out. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning, and here comes Johnny Lipon, who takes the ball. There's a bouncer past Page over to Rizzuto, the shortstop, who throws to first for the out, one away. Ted Gray now takes a strike and swings and misses at that one. It's an 0-2 count now on Gray, and that one's just low. 1-2 now the count on him. It's a ground ball over to Rizzuto, and the shortstop throws to first for the out, 2 away, and here's Hoot Evers, who takes the ball. 1-0 the count now on Evers, and there's one high, 2-0 now, and that's inside. It's a 3-0 count on Evers, and there's a strike on him, 3-1 now, and that's hit over to Mapes in center field. That lands right in front of him, and that is Evers' third hit of the day. And that means the Tigers have something going again. 9th hit for the Tigers in this one. And here's Paul Campbell, who had that awful double play last time up. He hits a ground ball over to Coleman on the 0-1 pitch, and Coleman makes the play, stops it from going to the outfield, but has no way to get the runner Evers out at second, and everybody's safe. And that brings up George Kell, 2 outs, runners on first and second. There's one up and in for a ball, 1-0 the count. And there's the fastball inside, 2-0 is now the count. There's a ground ball over to Rizzuto. He makes the play, goes over to Coleman for the out. We go to the top of the 7th, and here is Rizzuto. And he takes a ball high, 1-0 the count. There's a strike in there on him, 1-1. And there's one low and inside. It's a 2-1 count on Rizzuto. And there's a breaking ball high. It's 3-1 now. and that's off the plate, and Rizzuto will walk, and that'll bring up Tommy Henrik with a runner on first base. And there's a little ground ball over to Kell at third. Barry makes the play at second base for one, but had to leap over the runner, unable to throw on to first. So there is one away now. Cliff Mapes up there with a 1-1 count. Tommy Henrik on at first base, 1 out. 2-1 now the count on Mapes, and there's one hit deep to left field, and Evers makes a big play, crashes into the wall, holds on to the ball, and he's still healthy and looking good. Jerry Coleman now with 2 outs takes the ball, and then another ball. 2-0 the count now on Coleman, and there's one in the dirt. It's a 3-0 count. There's ball 4 around the knees. Gray having more control troubles. He's walked 7 today, and here comes Hank Bauer. And there is a ball there to Bauer, 1-0 the count, and that's up high, 2-0 now, and that's foul back. It's 2-1 now on Hank. There's ball 3 in there to him, and there's one low, and that will walk Bauer, and that brings up Yogi Berra at the bases loaded. And there's one hit over to right center field, and Groth, the center fielder, is able to go over and get that one for the out. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Hold on to your horses and fasten your seatbelts, and here comes Johnny Groth, who takes a strike, 0-1 the count. That's foul down the first base line, and it's an 0-2 count on Groth, and that's one outside for ball. 1-2 the count. 2-2 is that one was outside. It's up high, full count now on Groth. There's one smashed over to a Coleman at second base, throws to first for the out, one away, and here's Vic Wirtz. That's low for a ball, 1-0 the count, and that's high, 1-1. And there's a fly ball out of play into the stands, 1-2 now the count on Wirtz, and he holds up on that one. It's 2-2. And there's a fastball inside, spins him out of the way. Full count now on Wirtz, and he smashes one over there to Rizzuto, who makes the catch for the out, 2 away. And here is Bob Swift, the catcher. And he takes a strike on the outside edge, and there's another strike, 0-2 now the count on Swift. And that pitch almost calls strike 3, just not. And there's another ball in tight, 2-2 the count now on Swift. That's below the knees. It's a full count, and there's a ground ball over to Henrik, and he flips that one over to Page, the pitcher covering. We go to the top of the 8th inning. Ted Gray has been a little bit rusty here. 0-2 now the count on Bill Johnson, and still 0-2 as Gray has pitched a lot of pitches, and there's a fly ball over there to Evers in left field. He makes the play for the out, 1 away. Here is Joe Page, who's also going to stay in this game, and he takes the ball, and there's a strike in there to him, 1-1 the count, and he swings and misses at that one is 1-2, and there's strike 3, the backdoor fastball, and Gray has strike on number 4 against 8 walks. Johnny Lindell now takes the ball in low, and there's a line drive over there past Kell and over to Evers, and that's going to be a double for Lindell, and that'll bring up Phil Rizzuto. There's ball 1 in there to Rizzuto, and there's a line shot down the third base line that is just foul. It's a 1-1 count now on the scooter, and there's one high, 2-1. And that's off the thumbs and foul, 2-2 now. And there's a little fly ball over to Johnny Groth in center field. He goes back and gets that one. And we have Neil Barry here, bottom of the 8th inning. Neil Barry takes a strike and another one, 0-2 the count. And there's a called strike 3. The bat didn't even leave his shoulder. And here comes Johnny Lipon. And he takes a strike from Page. Page getting better as time goes on, but he lines the next one, Lipon that is, over to left field for a base hit. That'll bring up Ted Gray. Gray is 0 for 1 today, and he has been walked twice, and the crowd giving him a good round of applause. 1-0 the count now on Gray, and there's one inside. It's a 2-0 count on him, and there's a strike to him. It's 2-1. And there's a fastball inside, 2-2 the count, and there's a swing and the miss, and Page just blew him away with that one. There's 2 away now, and here's Hoot Evers with a chance to break this game open again. There's a 1-0 and now a 2-0 count on Evers, and Lipon being held on closely. There's a strike in there to Evers. It's 2-1. 2-1 remains the count, and there's a ball to Evers. It's a 3-1 count now on him, and there's a fastball down the middle, full count, and there's a swing and a miss on that one, and Evers strikes out swinging. Top of the 9th we go, 3-1 Tigers. Yankees have the heart of the order coming up, and Gray will give this one the old college try. He throws a strike to Tommy Henrik, then a ball, 1-1 the count, and there's one outside. It's 2-1 now this count, and that's inside for a ball, 3-1. And there's one upstairs, and that's walk number 9 by Gray, and that'll bring up Cliff Mapes. And we'll leave Gray in for the time being. Mapes with a 1-1 count on him. There's strike 2 called as 1-2. And that gets, it's a pass ball that gets through Swift, who just misses that one completely. 2-2 the count now. There's a ground ball past the reach of Barry, and that will score the run and put Mapes on at first base. And so I tell you, we've had a walk and then a passed ball, which was not really Gray's fault, and then this base hit over to Mapes. And that, I think, it will officially be enough to get Gray out of this ball game. Gray has pitched well. He ends up going, looks like 8 full innings, but we can't fiddle around anymore with keeping this guy in this game. I'm worried that he's going to completely blow it, and we have to look here in this bullpen to see who we could put in. Do we want to put Credlow in? I think that's who we want to put in. I think that's what we're going to do. Credlow probably should be saved to start more games, but we're going to use him as a reliever here as Jerry Coleman. And Coleman bunts that one, and that's a good bunt that goes over to Credlow, who makes the play over to first base. That was a pitch coming inside to him that puts Mapes over on second with 1 out, and here's Hank Bauer. There's a strike in there to Bauer, 0-1 the count. There's a ball inside, 1-1. And there's one foul straight back. It's a 1-2 count now on Bauer, and he fouls one back, still 1-2. And there's a breaking ball wide, 2-2 the count now. And there's a swing and a foul ball, still 2-2. And there's a swing and a miss, and that's why we put Credlow out there. He gets that strikeout, and that's 2 away. And here's Yogi Berra, who takes the strike. And there's a fastball high and away, 1-1 the count. And 2-1 as that one comes close and inside, and he hits that one foul, 2-2 the count now. Fastball off the outside corner, and the count is full count. There's a chopper over to Kell at third base, and Kell makes the play, throws over to first base for the out, and that does it. So the Yankees able to get one consolation run in the top of the ninth, but it's not enough. The Tigers hold on for the victory. That'll probably be a save there for Lou Credlow, and that's how this one ends, 3-2. That Yankees lead is now down to 2 games in the American League. Hope you enjoy this one. I'll see you tomorrow with another game. Bye-bye.